Debate, but please the débat, the honourable member for Scarborough Rouge River.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased to have an opportunity to share my views on this bill and add Scarborough's voice. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to see that this government is finally taking action on strengthening a program that is so vital to the safety of our communities. The NDP frontline community workers and Canadians have been calling upon the government to improve our witness protection program to ensure the safety of all Canadians. Since 2007, the NDP has repeatedly pushed for the expansion of the eligibility criteria, better coordination of federal and provincial programs, and better overall and adequate funding of the program itself. While it is concerning that this government that consistently purports to stand up for the safety of our communities has refused to commit any new funding for this program, the changes included in C-51 have been long awaited and are greatly needed. Bill C-51 proposes a better process to support provincial witness protection programs and expands the program to other agencies with national security responsibilities. In this bill, the eligibility criteria will expand requests from the RCMP to include street gang members. In addition, federal departments and agencies with a mandate related to national security, national defense, or public safety will also be able to refer witnesses to the program. This bill will extend the period for emergency protection and clear up some of the technical problems that were occurring in the coordination with provincial programs. Provinces like Ontario have been pushing for a national revamp of the witness protection program, including more recognition of their existing programs. The bill provides for the designation of a provincial or municipal witness protection program so that certain provisions of the Act can actually apply. It also authorizes the Commissioner of the RCMP to coordinate, at the request of an official of the designated provincial or municipal program, the activities of federal departments, agencies, and services in order to facilitate a change of identity for a person admitted into the designated program. Overall, this is a positive step. I represent a riding where community safety is top of mind and sadly a recurring concern for many in the community. Scarborough Rouge River is a diverse, dynamic, successful area to live. However, areas in Scarborough have tragically been affected by street gang violence. The tragedy that happened on Danzig Street in Scarborough this past summer is something that is not far from the minds of many Scarborough residents, or my mind either. The death of 2 young people and 23 wounded while enjoying a neighborhood barbecue is something that should have never happened, nor be repeated. We've seen ongoing efforts by courageous and committed Danzig residents, Scarborough residents, and organizations as well as city officials to help the community recover and work to avoid any future tragedies like this. The NDP is also committed to building safer communities, and one way is through an improved witness protection program that keeps our streets safe by giving police additional tools to fight street gangs by allowing for more members of the community to feel safe to come forward as witnesses. I'm proud that the NDP has been pushing this government to action to strengthen this program for years by expanding the eligibility criteria and to provide adequate funding to support such a vital piece of our justice system, as well as better coordination of the federal and provincial programs. We have also been pushing for crime prevention strategies and support for programs that seek to engage and empower our youth. It is amazing to see a Toronto resident donate his own money for resident development projects like after-school projects and programs. In turn, what we should see, however, is federal funding and leadership to support our youth and prevention programs that discourage youth from getting involved in crime. While late to respond to these growing issues, New Democrats are pleased to see the government listening to our request to expand the witness protection program. In the year ending in March 2012, the Federal Witness Protection Program admitted only 30 people out of a total of 108 individuals considered, with the cost of just over $9 million. The expansion of the program is not only something important to New Democrats, but the RCMP, the provinces, and individuals on the group working to combat street gangs at all agree. An extremely important addition to this is allowing those seeking to leave gangs access to the program. These improvements will help to improve cooperation with local police and the RCMP in the fight against gang violence and to make our communities safer. We know there are challenges with our current witness protection program, some of which that are addressed in this bill. Since the Witness Protection Program Act passed in 1996, both the Liberal and Conservative governments have done little to respond to the criticisms of the system. For example, the inability to protect witnesses was an obstacle to the prosecution in the Air India bombing case. As we know, witness Tara Singh Hire was assassinated in 1998, making his affidavit inadmissible as evidence in the court. 2 other witnesses refused to appear before the Air India inquiry in 2007, citing fears for their safety and feigning memory loss. Moreover, it is sad and certainly frustrating from the point of view of the Toronto Police that they experience challenges and resistance from witnesses to come forward when investigating crimes like the shooting on Danzig Street, like the shooting that took the lives of many members of my community. This government needs to provide local departments with the support they need, with the support that's necessary to make sure that witnesses come forward. While we would all like to believe that this government is committed to improving this important program without the necessary funding to carry out the changes, we fear that the improvements that are needed to really count, the improvements that are needed to really count for our communities may not actually happen. We are concerned that the Conservatives seem to be assuming that the RCMP and the local police departments work within their existing budgets, which will hinder the improvement of the program. There's already a high cost to the local police departments. While there are provincial programs, if the crime is federal in nature or involves drugs, the RCMP takes the case and charges the local police department the full costs, which many local or small police departments just can't afford. The RCMP's own website states, and I quote, "There are instances where the costs of witness protection may impede the investigations, particularly for smaller law enforcement agencies," end quote. If the Conservatives truly want to improve the witness protection program, they must commit the funding to ensure that this happens. The NDP will continue to push the federal government to work with the RCMP and the provinces to dedicate funding to the witness protection program, to ensure that local departments can continue the important work that they do. It's also disappointing that the bill does not include more recommendations that were included in the major report from the Air India inquiry, including provisions for an independent agency to operate the program, or to have oversight of the program. It was recommended that an independent agency operate the program. This would allow for a more transparent and an accountable process for admissions into the program. This is something that the government also identified as a serious problem, but as we see in Bill C-51, has done nothing to address it. Transparency seems to be a persistent issue from this government, but it is still curious why they won't commit to making the process more transparent. Once again, Mr. Speaker, the changes in Bill C-51 are an important step forward for the community and for safety of all Canadians. Frontline workers in my community and across the country have long awaited these type of improvements. Moreover, we see this government listening to the NDP, who have always been committed to building safer communities through an important and improved witness protection program. Conversations with the local police department in Toronto and with frontline workers, they have very clearly indicated to me, as well as my staff and other frontline workers that I'm talking to on a regular basis, that if the witness protection program were improved, then we would see many more people in our communities come up and be willing to be witnesses. If our witnesses are taken care of, then they won't be victimized. Or we want to make sure that members of our community who are being brave in coming forward to be a witness are not being victimized, or that their families aren't being victimized. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity, and I hope to see more bills like this in the future that demonstrate that this government is starting to listen to New Democrats and Canadians, and that we can actually work cooperatively and support the system that we have in our Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question.